Hey everybody, welcome back to Peachy Disc Golf. Today I am here at Mullet Park up in Indiana for work, and I brought along a handful of newer DISCMANIA discs with me. I have not had much experience throwing them, so I figured why not give them a test here in Indiana. It's a windy day here, so a lot of these are overstable. Let's try them out. All right, so I got a little stack here of some discs from DISCMANIA that I haven't really gotten much experience with for the most part. A couple of these I've thrown a little bit here and there, but really looking forward to trying them out here at Mullet Park. It is a pretty breezy day. The weather is beautiful. It's like 73 degrees. Down in Atlanta, it's still in the 90s, 95 or so. So really enjoying the weather. So here's what we got today. We do have two mid-ranges. I have an MD1, just a stock stamp MD1 5600. So I have the Mindbender that I've thrown in the past, but let's see how the stock stamp C-line compares. Then we also have the Klein Midnight Prowl. This is a disc that I'm really looking forward to trying out. This is it's an Origin, which is I believe a 5.5 -1.1. That is a disc slot that I love throwing. Like the Hex is one of my favorite discs in my bag. I really love that slot. So really looking forward to seeing how this one shapes out. Moving up into fairway drivers, we have the FD1, basically a T-Bird 7402. So decently overstable. I imagine in the C-line plastic it's gonna be even beefier than I expect, so looking forward to seeing how it flies. Moving on up, we got the CD1 95 -1.2, another slot that I really love. Same numbers as my Discraft Undertaker. Now my Undertaker is pretty beaten, so it flies pretty straight. I expect this to be significantly more overstable, but the disc that I'm most looking forward to trying is the brand new Klein Vanguard 9502. One slot in my bag that I've really been looking for is something between my Draco, a very overstable fairway driver similar to Firebird, and my Undertaker. Something just decent stability, but not a complete beefcake. So will this fill that slot? I don't know. I'm really looking forward to trying it out though. Then we also have the absolute beefcake, the Doom Bird 4, Simon Lizotte's last DISCMANIA disc before switching over to MVP. I had gotten a couple of these in, never got a chance to throw them or review them, so I figured good windy day, why not try them out here? Gonna give that a toss. And the last disc we have is going to be the DD1 in S-line plastic, 11.5 -1.2. I don't know how many opportunities we're gonna have to throw this disc. I don't know. I think there are a couple of longer holes, so I've heard that this is very overstable, even compared to like a DD3, which I've thrown in the past, so we'll see. I don't throw past 9 speeds that often. I throw a Wave and a Photon every now and then, but I think this is gonna be an absolute meat hook for me. So let's head over to hole 1 and we'll see how these discs fly. All right, hole 1, 224 feet, par 3. You can see the basket is going to be tucked behind this big tree on the left side of the fairway here. So we're gonna be throwing the two mid-ranges, I think, just to start things off. Everyone knows 2 off the first. I think the Origin will be a pretty good disc here. Unfortunately though, it's a bit breezy. I think it's kind of a left to right crosswind right now, but also I'm getting a little headwind as well. So hopefully this doesn't completely flip over. I don't know how well it's gonna stand up to the wind, but I'm really looking forward to trying this one out. So we're gonna give this a toss first, then we're gonna go with the MD1 second. Oh, that had a lot of flip. It's fighting back though. Okay, that's not bad. I think I'm edge of circle there. It definitely has a lot of flip actually. I've heard that's the case compared to like even a Hex. I've heard it's even a little flippier. It reminds me of my M4 from Prodigy. It's something I've found to be just a little flippier, but still will have stability as long as you give it the height. Let's try the MD1 next here. Oh, that's beautiful. Oh, I think that's parked. That was a beautiful shot. That had just a nice little flip up, not much fade, just a very gentle fade to the left. It reminds me of the Mindbender, so if you didn't get a chance to get the Mindbender, just a stock MD1 seems like it will still be just as good. All right, well you can see the MD1, like I thought, pretty parked right here. Little 5-foot putt. Putting with a Rainmaker is either this or just a P2. I don't really have that many putting putters for DISCMANIA. Origin is probably 20 to 25 feet. Inside circle 1, definitely a long putt. Windy headwind putt though. Oh, just enough, let's go. That was right side. I was like, oh no, please fade. It did. So nice birdies to start off. Head to hole 2. Hole 2, also 224 feet, par 3. From the T-pad, you can't see the basket, but I think you might be able to see it from the camera. Basically, we have this thick rough on the left side, so we just want to throw something out to the right and let it fade in. So ideally, I would use like a matrix here. We'll go with the Midnight Prowl again. Put it on hyzer. Oh yeah, a lot of flip. Oh, I think I cut the line too early. Let's try that MD1 again as well. Similar line, maybe a little less hyzer. And I need to throw it a little bit harder. That'll be nice. Yep, I think I'm parked there again. Man, that MD1 is flying great for me. The MD1 totally parked as I thought. The Origin unfortunately did go early. So I'm in this thick rough, thorns. Let's see if I can even get a look at the basket. I don't think so. Maybe, actually. I sort of have a slight look. Not a great one though. This is, if this goes in, it's pure luck. I'm calling it now. Oh, that almost fell in. Yeah, this MD1 though was another 5-foot park job. Too bad though, getting a par since I threw the Midnight Prowl first. I find that this Midnight Prowl 2 is definitely flippier than the MD1, which is surprising to me. I thought that the MD1 would be a little harder to control, but so far I'm really enjoying it a lot. Hole 3 is only 209 feet, par 3. You can see the basket way over here, so I don't know from this camera angle, you probably can't tell, but basically we gotta go hard to the left, so headwind as well. We're gonna try the Doom Bird 4 here. This is a hole that's way too short for this. Obviously, I think the real play would be like a tactic here, but I don't have one of those with me, so we're gonna do the Doom Bird 4. That's the most overstable thing that I have here. Skip up. Nice. That is a beefy boy. Just as a comparison, I'm gonna throw the FD1 as well on a little more direct line. Just want to sort of compare the fades between the two. Oh, that's gonna be even closer. You can see it is a beautiful day here to play some disc golf. This course is really pretty. It's a nice park style course, pretty open, not too many trees. And like the weather is just so nice. All right, another tap in here for birdie with the Doom Bird 4. Yeah, this is a really beefy disc. So I do not foresee myself bagging this and using it that often. I think even my Draco has the ability to go further than this. This thing was so beefy. All right, now we're getting to some longer holes. Hole 4, 419 feet, par 4. I don't see the hole, but on UDisc, it looks like it's in the woods here. And I think that really tall tree that you could see the most of the trunk for, I think that's a Mando to the right. So I think the play is to just sort of go to the right of this little tree right in the middle, let it fade a little bit to that little opening in the woods, and then have an approach from there. We're gonna throw all of the 9 and above discs here. I'm gonna start with the Vanguard. This is the one, again, that I'm really, really looking forward to. If this disc flies nice, this might go in the bag because I am looking for something, again, between my Draco and my Undertaker, so this could fill that slot. But we're also gonna try the CD1 and the DD1 as well, just to see. I don't know how many like long holes there are, and this one is as good as any to try out these longer distance drivers. Starting with the Vanguard here, we have a little headwind, so see how well this disc holds up to the wind. That's beautiful. That's right where I was aiming. Definitely wished I got a little more distance off of it, but we should have a nice approach there. But that held up to the wind, nice and straight flight, and then just a gentle fade in this headwind. I'm sure in a calm day it would still have a nice straight flight with a pretty decent overstable finish. Let's compare that directly real quick to the CD1. This is a similar disc numbers wise. It's a 9.5 -1.2 instead of 9.5 So let's see if we see that -1 turn. Oh yeah, we do. I threw that way to the right. Oh no, I got tangled up in the tree on the right there, but yeah, there is definitely that -1 turn in this headwind that you can really, really tell. Oh yeah, that had a little flip to it. Still a nice strong fade. That's actually gonna be in a pretty decent spot. Interesting. That's great that they do both fill different slots in the bag. All right, last up, DD1. I don't expect this to go that far for me, and I think it's gonna be pretty overstable. Oh, that is beefy. No flip. I did get good distance though. Honestly, I wish I would have thrown my Vanguard that hard, because I think it would have been in a similar spot. But that DD1, that was a beefy 11 speed. All right, this Vanguard actually was not a great shot. I didn't realize, but you really want to be over to the left. My DD1 actually is in a prime spot. So I have to go sort of to the right. The Mando tree is way deeper into the woods than I thought. And then the basket is like it's sort of a weird S shape. So I'm really just trying to get it into the woods to save par at this point. So I'm going for this little circular opening here. Or I'm just doing that and doing nothing like I said I was gonna do. All right, my forehand did at least get me into a position to get a decent shot. I'm gonna use the Doom Bird 4 as a zone, basically. So it's the most overstable thing I have here. All right, I think I'm right next to the basket there, so should be able to save par at least. Pretty long putt, actually. This is like a 15, 20 feet. Try to make this so we don't get a bogey. Oh, just right. All right, well, we are back to another short hole here. Hole 5, 210 feet, par 3. Basket is straight ahead, wide open shot here. Really pretty tee pad set up in between the trees. We're gonna go with the 2 mid-ranges. This time I'm gonna start with the MD1 because I've been having better luck with it. But we are gonna throw the Midnight Prowl again as well. So let's see, gotta get a birdie to make up for that bogey we just took on 4. I think I threw that out too wide. No, that's gonna be okay. That might be like a 10-foot putt there. A little short, it's kind of a slippery tee pad. Try the Midnight Prowl 2 as well. Oh, I threw that out too wide as well. Yeah, that has a lot of flip. Even compared to the MD1, that has a lot of turn. Luckily, I was smart enough to start with the MD1 because this is a nice little tap in. So we can erase that bogey we just took. So that'll be nice. I'm really liking the MD1. It's very controllable, nice and straight, just a little fade. I haven't really had it turn over at all, and it just carries straight for most of the flight, and a nice, very, very gentle fade at the end. Just look at how pretty the weather is today. It is so beautiful outside right now. Beautiful sunset as well. It might have to hurry up a little bit here to try to finish in time, but hole 6 is a par 3, 310 feet. Basically, you got 2 lines. You can either go forehand down the left side and go hook to the right past the tree, or go backhand, where you're gonna have these 2 big trees on the right come into play. But that's what I'm gonna do because my forehand is absolute garbage. I'm gonna start actually with the CD1 because that had that nice little flip. I think I can get a little more distance out of it when compared to the Vanguard, but we're gonna throw the Vanguard, the CD1, and we're also going to throw the FD1 here as well. I don't think it's gonna be long enough, but we are running out of holes, and I do wanna give this a throw as well, just to see how it flies. This will be a test because I don't want it to turn too much into those trees, but I think it has enough stability that that shouldn't be a problem. And I don't even expect really to get too close to the basket here with 310 feet. Yes. Oh, that's beautiful. It's definitely way short, but I made it past the tree, which I was going for. It had a nice little flip, even a little turn to the right. Oh, that was such a pretty shot, honestly. So let's compare that to the Vanguard now and see. I don't think the Vanguard's gonna flip. Oh, I threw it on hyzer. Yeah, that is definitely more overstable though. No flip. I definitely put more hyzer on that than the CD1. I threw the CD1 pretty flat, but it carried way left. So definitely less overstable than my Draco. Honestly, that still is very impressive to me. It might fill that slot in the bag. I think I'm gonna do a video on it by itself at some point to compare it to some other similar discs like the Tesla, Thunderbird, maybe the feedback from Prodigy. So we'll see. Looking forward to trying that out again. Last up, we'll go FD1 here just to see how it flies. I imagine this to be pretty overstable. Oh yeah, very similar to that Vanguard actually, just less distance, which is very impressive because that means those numbers are pretty accurate. It has less glide, 7 speed compared to 9 speed, but very similar shot shapes. I threw both of those on a similar amount of hyzer as well. So that means the Vanguard seems like a faster FD1, maybe a touch more glide as well. So the CD1 was the best drive of the group. So that's good. It chose the right disc for the shot. Have a really long circle 2 putt here though. Oh, just short. All right, hole 7, 270 feet, par 3. Pretty interesting hole here. We got these 2 little trees in front that we need to either go to the left or the right of, and the basket is tucked straight behind that big tree in the middle that's probably 50 feet past. I'm gonna be going with the Vanguard here on the right side. So I just need to try to throw this nice and hard and hope it has enough fade, enough height, enough speed. It's gonna be a really tricky shot, honestly. Okay, and then fade. Oh, I didn't even think that tree was gonna come into play. That was a nice throw though, dang. Yeah, so I didn't even notice that there's just this little gap in between these trees. I thought this big tree was further away, so I thought there was more space. But you can see, if you want to take that line, you really got to get a really accurate throw off the tee. All right, I think you could just see the basket behind the tree now. So like we've been doing, we're going with the Doom Bird 4 here as the our overstable approach disc. So just want to get a nice little touchy throw, let it fade towards the basket. All right, that should be 5 feet, a little tapping. Yeah, you could see just how tight this gap is to get into the basket on this backhand line. Honestly, it's a really pretty hole, but we'll get this par real quick. I threw this a little lower than I wanted, but luckily got enough skip. So we got just like a little 8-foot putt. Nice. Oh God, hole 8, 162 feet, par 3. Double Mando, really narrow gap, maybe 10 feet. We're going with the MD1. I just want to make the gap. I don't even see the basket. It's so dark back there. We just got to make it through the Mando. Turn, turn, turn. Oh, just barely. Actually, I think that's the ideal spot. I don't think I'm going to be close to the basket there, but whoo, that was money. All right, here's that double Mando we're walking through. And you can see the basket's right here. I didn't even see it. So my MD1 actually might be close. Actually, I went long of the basket. I thought I was gonna be close, but that's so short. It really is like only 161 feet. So this is like a circle's edge putt here. So dark, can't really see a single chain link on the basket here. Oh, come on, that was center and it spit out. Oh. Dang it. All right, a nice pretty hole to end on here. Hole 9, 206 feet, par 3. Another wide open shot. Basket framed up just in front of these little Christmas trees here. We're gonna try the Midnight Prowl again. Give it one last try. This time I'm gonna put it on hyzer. I'm gonna try to throw it almost straight at the basket on hyzer. See if we can flip it up. Maybe a little turn to the right, fade at the end. And we'll throw the MD1 as well again. Well, I threw it on hyzer, but I threw it too left. But that's the way to throw it. I didn't aim very well there, but that was flipped up, laser beam, all the way to the end of the flight, just the tiniest bit of fade to the left. So that is the way to throw the Origin, it looks like. Just gotta treat it as a little bit more understable, especially if you're used to something like the Hex or the Buzz, especially. The Buzz is even more overstable. But that was still a circle 1, probably making a birdie there. Let's throw the MD1 as well. Nose up. It's too soft. Nope, that's almost pin high, but it would have been better if I kept the nose down, get it chain high. Could have gotten an ace maybe. All right, this tree's right in my way. I guess I gotta straddle. So we're looking at a little 15-foot putt. Get situated here. All right, we could do this. Woo, let's go. Nice way to end on a birdie. We're gonna real quick do a throw of everything in this wide open field. I'm gonna try throwing full power, nice and flat, just to give one last idea of what each disc throw is like. This will be the hardest one to follow, I think, the MD1. Yeah, I put a little anhyzer on it. Whatever line you put that on, it's gonna hold. Great neutral flyer. All right, next up, Midnight Prowl 2. I'm gonna put hyzer on it, get a little hyzer flip out of it, the way it's supposed to be thrown. Oh yeah. Woo, that's a great flight. Oh my God. I just wish I would have internalized that earlier. The disc I didn't really get to throw for any tee shots, FD1. Yeah, that is a really overstable disc. It has a lot of finish. I had a little bit of hyzer on that throw, no flip, just held the hyzer the whole way. Really strong finish at the end. Jump right into the Vanguard here just to see. I think it's gonna have a similar flight, just a bit longer. Oh, that is such a nice flight. I really think that might be the disc that I'm looking for in that slot. Something between that Draco and that Undertaker. We're definitely gonna have to do a video on that one by itself. Next up, we'll do CD1. Whew, very similar. Just a little bit more flip than the Vanguard. They are very similar for my arm speed, but you can definitely see that -1 turn. Honestly, I really want to try that in S-line plastic. I think that would be great. All right, Doom Bird 4. Oh, okay. Yeah, dives straight to the ground. If you throw it hard though, it does have a pretty straight flight. Similar to the Draco, I think. I was just throwing it really soft earlier. The last disc, the DD1. Oh yeah, no flip, very overstable. Decent distance, but definitely not something going in the bag for me. All right, well, I am back home now, so I thought real quick I would give you my final thoughts on this little stack of new-ish Discmania discs, starting with the Midnight Prowl 2. Overall, I ended up really liking this disc at the end of the video. Even though it has the same numbers as my Hex, I find that this is a little bit more understable. I wish I would have known that at the beginning of the video. So on my earlier throws when we were throwing mid-ranges, I would have put a little more hyzer on it and trusted that it would have flipped up to flat and gotten me a little bit more distance. But I really like this disc. This meta plastic feels great in the hand. And the only reason it's not going to be going in my bag is because I'm currently throwing an M4, and the two have very similar flights where they're just both a little more understable than my Hex, but not quite as understable as, say, my Lobster or my Tursus or things like that. So overall, the Midnight Prowl 2, a great disc if you're looking for something nice and straight, nice little hyzer flip mid-range disc. This would be an excellent option. Next up, we have the MD1, another disc that I really enjoyed throwing. If you missed out on getting a Mindbender when Simon Lizotte was still playing with Discmania, don't worry, you can pick up one of these C-line stock MD1s. The flights are very similar, and overall, I really love throwing the MD1. Next up, we got the FD1. This was the disc that I had the least opportunity to throw, and honestly, I don't really have too much to say about it because of that. It's definitely an overstable 7-speed driver. It actually sort of reminds me of my Resistor from MVP. It's gonna go straight for a little bit, and then it's gonna fade pretty hard to the left. I don't really have too much else to say about it. It definitely reminds me of other discs with these similar numbers, like it flies similar to my Champion T-Bird, to that Resistor. But overall, like the C-line plastic feels great. The FD1 is certainly comfortable to hold in the hand. So if you're looking for a dependable 7-speed driver, you can definitely give the FD1 a try. Similarly, we got the Doom Bird 4, Simon Lizotte's last disc with Discmania. Unfortunately, I've never thrown like a stock FD3, so I can't really tell you how the Doom Bird 4 compares to that, but the Doom Bird 4, not a disc that's going to be going in my bag because one, they're not going to be making any more Simon Lizotte discs with Discmania, so I don't really want to lose this disc in particular. And two, I already have a overstable 9-speed driver with the Draco. Sometimes I'll throw a Felon in that slot instead as well. So if this disc is similar to the FD3, it feels comfortable in the hand. And if you throw it on full power, you're going to get a nice straight flight out of it. And you can definitely be sure that this disc is trustworthy in the wind as well because it is very overstable. All right, then we have the DD1 here, S-Line DD1, another disc that I'm certainly not going to be adding to my bag. In general, I try to bag only discs with speeds of 9 or less. This DD1 is definitely a little more overstable than I expected. I feel like even when I did that test video of the DD3 a little while back, that disc was actually flying even a little less stable than this DD1 did. So I've heard from several other people that the DD1 surprised them with how overstable it is as well. So let me know in the comments below if you've thrown both of the DD1 and the DD3. What do you think about the two? How do they compare to each other? But currently the DD1 is a little bit too much disc for me, so it's definitely not going in my bag. And then last up, we have the two discs that impressed me the most. We have the Vanguard and the CD1, both 9-speed drivers here. First off, Kyle Klein's new Vanguard. This disc is so nice. The Special Line S-Line plastic feels great in the hand. It reminds me a lot of the Royal Grand plastic and the Supreme plastic from Trilogy, which is probably one of my favorite, if not my absolute favorite plastic blend on the market right now. but this disc feels amazing and it has such a nice flight. Even when throwing hard, I know that I can depend on it having good stability at the end of the flight to fade left. And I do think that this would perfectly fill that slot between my Draco and my straight flying Undertaker. So I definitely plan on doing a video showcasing the Vanguard on its own and comparing it to some other discs that I've thought about using in that slot, like the MVP Tesla, the Royal Honor from Latitude 64, the Innova Thunderbird, and things like that. So we'll see. I definitely want to give this some more throws, and there's a very good chance that this ends up in the bag. And then lastly, the C-Line CD1 really impressed me a lot. I definitely thought that this disc was going to fly very similar to the Vanguard with maybe even a little bit less glide, because that's sort of what I had found to be the case for my arm speed with most of these C-Line plastic discs. But there is a definite difference between both of these. They are actually really nice complements for each other, where if you want something to have a little bit more of an S shape with a little more turn, that -1 turn for the CD1 is definitely there. I really enjoyed throwing this. I was usually able to get just a little bit more distance with the CD1 because of that slight understability, but it still has a really dependable fade at the end of the flight, so it still is a nice overstable disc. It reminds me actually a bit of my Supreme Escape, which I've actually lost. So there's a good chance that this disc also ends up in my bag to fill that slot. So I really, really like this disc as well. But that is going to be it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't, I would greatly appreciate it if you would consider subscribing to the channel. If you enjoyed watching this little video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and also ring that notification bell so you can be notified when our next episode comes out. Until next time, guys. Cheers.